Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Every few years, the Sabbath and Rosh Hashanah coincide. Rabbis like that. Cantors like that. It has an extra special feeling as well. And so does each service, including this first service of Erev Rosh Hashanah. It's very calm, short, easy service, but it brings us into the new year. And as if perfectly on cue, the weather shifted just in time for the new year. It feels like fall. It feels like the new season. And so that reminded me of a special reading that we don't typically do, but it's a powerful reading. We looked at it in Torah study last week about turning, because this is a time of physical turning in the world of nature and spiritual turning in our lives. So we'll turn to that in a moment. It's always a pleasure, year after year, to be here on the Bima with Beth Robin. She has not missed a High Holy Day service in decades, I would imagine. And it's truly a pleasure to welcome student Cantor Joe Flaxman to his second year with us, but his first Rosh Hashanah. For those who don't quite get that, I'll explain it to you after the service. But speaking of turning, this meditation, this reflection is actually in our prayer book. So if you would turn to page 372. Now is the time for turning. The leaves are beginning to turn from green to red and orange. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter. For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong and this is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are terribly hard to do. But unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. Loving God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning. And turn us toward each other, for in isolation there is no life. We turn back now to the front of the prayer book, to page 51 for our opening song, the 121st Psalm.
Ezri, shomer Yisrael, Adonai, shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha, al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka, ve'yareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzedka ovaeka, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam.
We read responsively. In the twilight of the vanishing year, we lift up our hearts in thanksgiving. We are sustained by love and kindness, comforted in times of sorrow, found happiness in our homes and gladness with our friends. We lift up our hearts in thanksgiving as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, we hear
But there were dreams that came to naught, and times when we refused to dream. These with much regret we now remember as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, contrition fills our thoughts.
Some of our days were dark with grief. Many a tear furrowed our cheeks. Alas, for the tender ties that were broken. We look back with sorrow as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, tears well up within us.
Yet we look ahead with hope, giving thanks for the daily miracle of renewal, for the promise of good to come. May this Rosh Hashanah, birthday of the world, be our day of rebirth into life and peace, serenity and safety as the new year begins.
As the new year begins, so is hope reborn with us.
For the blessing of the Shabbat and Rosh Hashanah candles, page 17, and we invite forward Barbara Schwartz, that's my mother, and Doris Waite to come forward.
Creator of beginnings, as you created the world on this day, united fragments into a universe, so help unite our hearts and the hearts of all Jews to serve you.
Illumine our lives with the light of your Torah, for by your light do we see light. Grant us this year a glimpse of the light of redemption, the light of healing and of peace.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, quite a tribute to Doris that she got my mother to agree to come up to the bima at all. We continue on page 23. B'chodesh hashvi'i be'echad lechodesh yeh lechem Shabbaton Zicharon Teruah Mikra Kodesh Kol Melechet Avodah Lo Ta'asu. In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, there shall be a sacred assembly, a cessation from work, a day of commemoration proclaimed by the sound of the shofar. Please rise.
Israel hu ki kol Israel hu ki kol Israel hu mishpat le'Elohei
Sound the shofar when the new moon appears, at the turning of the year, at the returning of our solemn celebration, for this is a statute binding on Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. Yehi ratzon me lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu, Shetichadesh Aleinu ve'al kol Beit Yisrael, et Hashanah hazot, Shnat 5,784, L'chaim u'l'shalom, L'sason u'l'simcha, L'shua u'l'nechama, V'nomar Amen.
Amen.
May it be your will, eternal our God, God of all generations, that the year 5784 bring to us and the whole house of Israel life and peace, joy and exultation, redemption and comfort, and let us say, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah potech sha'arim, u'vitfunah mishanei itim, u'mahalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotayim berakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום, ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות, שמו אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv, Haravim.
silence, there was chaos, there was a voice. A mind went forth to form worlds. Now order reigns where chaos once held sway.
The law makes evening fall, the law brings on the dawn.
The moon follows accustomed paths, constellations their pattern ways. Sovereign is the will that orders the stars in their courses in the endless skies. Sovereign is that will.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shokbenu v'komenu, Nosiach b'kukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, U'v'mitzvotecha, Le'olam v'ared. Kirem chayenu, ve'orek yameinu, uvahem negeh, yomam v'alayha. Atasir minenu leolamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
We join in the high holy rendition of the Shema on the next page. Yisrael, Adonai,
Eloheinu,
Adonai, Echad, Baruch Shem,
Malchuto, Leolam.
Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha
v'kol levavcha v'kol nafshecha
Uvechol meodecha Vehayu
הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושיתך בביתך
ולכתך בדרך
ושוכבך
ובקומך וקשרתם לאות הידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים
Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Amen.
Responsively, what does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be holy.
To make them whole.
What does it mean to be a Jew? You shall be a holy people.
To hold fast to our vision of truth. To retain our faith in tomorrow.
Holy in our past is the memory of redemption from Egyptian bondage.
Holy in our day is the hope of a redemption we still await.
Twice holy in our past are those who gave their lives to hallow this world.
Holy is the Jew, today and tomorrow, who bears witness to the goodness of life.
And holy are those whose lives are songs in freedom's cause. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. The Hashki Venu prayer that follows, which we recite every Shabbat and now as well, actually has a hint in it of one of the holidays to come, because we ask God to spread over us Sukkot Shalom. There's the hint, Sukkah, Sukkot, the great canopy of peace. It's a beautiful image. And when I was a rabbinical student in Jerusalem many decades ago, I lived on one of the most quaint streets in old Jerusalem called Rehov Sukkot Shalom, the street of the canopy of peace. Hashkivim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom v'hagitenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom v'hagitenu shomreinu l'chaim. Schwartz Shalom, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom v'hamitenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom
v'hamitenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Baruch Ata Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al
V'Shamru prayer because of the Shabbat, but the interpretive translation of the prayer we just sang is very pretty, very nice. And so let's read it together in English on the top of page 29. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May night spread over us a shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, the blessing of rest. There will come a time when morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish. There will come a day of happiness, of contentment and peace. Praise be the source of joy within us, for the night and its rest, for the promise of peace. Ah, the blessing of a good night's sleep. V'Shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות את
השבת לתורתם ברית עולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות
את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש.
ושמרו
בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות את
השבת לתורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We return now to the High Holy Day mode for the Reader's Kaddish on the bottom of 29 that separates one section of prayer from the other.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה, מעלמה דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, וחייקון וביומכון, ובחיית כל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולם יתברך וישתבח, ויפעל ויתרומם ויתנשא, וידנר וידלל ידלל שמד קודשה בריקו לילה ולילה מן כל מרקדה ושירתה תוש וקטה ונקמה גם ירן מעולמה וימרו Amen.
When we recite the Amidah prayer at the High Holy Days, as we're about to do, you see the special edition at the bottom of page 30 called Zochrenu. Zochrenu lechaim, remember us, O God, unto life. The word chayim, life, appears 4 times in this brief insertion because metaphorically we are asking God to keep open the book of life for us in this new year. For the Tefillah Amidah, please rise.
Sifatai tiftachu fi tehillateka. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot V'imahot, U'mebid Geulah Libnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ah. Zochreinu lechaim, Melech hafetz b'chaim, v'kodeinu b'sefer ha'chaim, leman Elohim chaim. Zochreinu lechaim, Melech hafetz b'chaim, v'kodeinu b'sefer ha'chaim, leman Elohim chaim. Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'ezrat Sarah. Atah gimur leolam Adonai, Mechayeh kol Azara.
אתה kadosh v'shemcha kadosh u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who strive to be holy declare your glory day by day. Please be seated. In the middle of page 34, in your love, O God, you have given us this Shabbat and this day of remembrance to hear the sound of the shofar, to unite in worship, and to recall the exodus from Egypt. Together, our God and God of all ages, be mindful of your people Israel on this day of remembrance, and renew in us love and compassion, goodness, life, and peace. This day, remember us for well-being. Amen. This day, bless us with your nearness. Amen. This day, help us to live. Amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, may you rule in glory over all the earth, and let your grandeur be acclaimed throughout the world. Reveal the splendor of your majesty to all who dwell on earth, that all your works may know you as their maker, and all the living acknowledge you as their creator. Then all who breathe shall say, the sovereign God of Israel is the one whose dominion extends to all creation. Our God and God of our ancestors, sanctify us with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. May our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. For you, O God, are truth, and your word is true forever. In your gracious love, eternal God, let your holy Sabbath remain our heritage, that all Israel, hallowing your name, may find rest and peace. Blessed is the Eternal, who hallows the Sabbath, the house of Israel, in the day of remembrance. Many of you know that I'm particularly partial to the beautiful prayer in English for our country and for peace. Grant us peace, it's called, on page 38. This prayer is taken from the original Union Prayer Book, which I remember fondly from growing up. And just in recent times, praying for the welfare of our country has seemed more urgent than ever. So if you would join me. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country, that may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all lands. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Teach us, O God, to labor for righteousness. Inscribe us in the book of life, blessing, and peace. Blessed is the eternal God, the source of peace. In this spirit, perhaps let's utilize this first period of silent prayer to reflect on our thoughts for the new year for our country and our community. There'll be plenty of time to think about our own selves and our family during the course of these high holy days. So we'll pause now for this first period of silent reflection, and then the Cantor will sing the beautiful Shalom Rav on page 37. We pause.
Shalom.
In a moment, we recite for the first time of these High Holy Days the Avinu Malkeinu prayer, which you can find on page 40. This year I've written a brief introduction to this prayer that I'd like to share now. Avinu Malkeinu is arguably the most famous prayer of the High Holy Days that undoubtedly has to do with the stirring music sung before the open ark. But there is no denying the powerful content of this prayer as well. Avinu Malkeinu cuts to the chase, gets to the core of what these High Holy Days are all about. We acknowledge that we have messed up, made mistakes big and small, sinned. We acknowledge that we face all kinds of challenges in our life and need help. We acknowledge that our fervent desire for a better world and for a better year. Avinu Malkeinu also conveys the paradox that the power beyond us, God, is both close and far, imminent yet transcendent. God is like a father or mother, close, loving, compassionate. God is also like a king or queen, distant, commanding, judging. Yet this paradox is also full of promise. For both a parent and a sovereign nurture us and protect us in different ways. A parent is attentive to our every daily need. A sovereign ensures our communal safety and well-being. Each assures us and inspires us in their own way. Whether we are believers or skeptics or somewhere in between, this prayer stirs the heart and rouses the soul. We begin with the cantorial rendition of Avinu Malkeinu, then we'll read it in Hebrew and English, and end with the congregational refrain. For the Avinu Malkeinu, as we open the ark, please rise.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Shatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Amol Aleinu, Ve'al Aleinu, V'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Teve, V'kervera, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kol Tzar, U'mastir, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kodenu, Be'sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodesh Shalem.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, Hatanu Lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned against you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Hamol Aleinu, Ve'al Olaleinu V'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our children.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Dever V'Herev V'Ra'av Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to sickness, war, and famine.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kotzar Umastin Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, make an end to all oppression.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu B'Sefer Chayim Tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, prescribe us for blessing in the book of life.
Avinu Malkeinu, Hadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Keren Yisrael Amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, give strength to your people Israel.
Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu Va'anenu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim, Aseh Imanu Tzedakah, V'Hesed, V'Hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and answer us, for we have little merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be in our help.
Please be seated. Now, traditionally, as you know, in a service, the cantor does all the singing and the rabbi does all the talking. Well, we're going to mix that up a little bit for the first time. I have to tell you that throughout last year and this year, I've been very impressed with the rabbinic interest of student cantor Joe Flaxman. He happens to be in a special, you might even say, elite program at the Hebrew Union College called the Tisch Fellows, where he actually studies texts in a very serious way with rabbis. And so I was thinking about this, and I thought that on this Rosh Hashanah, for this Devar Torah, that I would invite our cantor to offer his reflections.
Thank you, Rabbi. I am very much honored. Shabbat Shalom and a Shana Tova u'mituka, wishes for a good and a sweet new year to all of you. Tonight is an auspicious night, and tonight is different from all other nights. So on this special evening, I'd like to tell you a story. A long, long time ago, there was a planet. It was young, only a few 100 million years old. And it was large. Well, at least larger than our planet. And like a newborn child, the planet was soft and squishy. It was malleable so it could stretch and grow as it needed. The sun shone upon its face by day, but the moon did not shine upon it by night, for this planet had no moon. One day, something large, something very large, so large that it was potentially the size of Mars, crashed into the baby planet. An enormous amount of its malleable material went flying off into the cosmos. Over the next 100 million years or so, it became its own separate sphere that revolved around the original planet. Thus, the planet and its moon, both made from the same material, remained forever connected to one another. This is how Earth came to have a moon almost 4.5 billion years ago. Just a few more than the 5,784 years we're celebrating tonight. A moonless sky, an earth covered with dark and dread. While we have a reminder of what it's like to not have a moon every 29 or so days, most of us have only experienced a handful of truly dark nights. The kind where you can't see anything because there was no light from the moon and no light from electricity. The kind of night you're not likely to find in Leonia, New Jersey. The lunar cycle is central to some ancient belief systems, with its predictable cycles that are easy for the human eye to understand. And we continue to use our Jewish lunar calendar for our months and holidays to this very day. The Jewish day begins at the darkest time of day, Erev Vavoker. There was evening, and then there was morning. And our months begin with the darkest night for the entire month, under the new moon. For most of human history, the night of the new moon was a moment of fear. One where people would avoid leaving their homes because they simply couldn't see. Jewish liturgy reflects these fears and attempts to combat them via additional prayers for protection and blessing at the first of the month. After a few days, we start to see the moon grow, and we're very thankful. And Jews traditionally went outside the walls of the synagogue to bless the moon and celebrate its return. Those who recite this liturgy sanctify the moon. They even do a ceremony where they jump up towards the moon. They celebrate their own renewing cycles, and they even ask to be like the moon itself. Additionally, I'm willing to say that enjoying a full moon can be considered an especially Jewish quality. While the moon belongs to everyone, and I agree with the song, "The best things in life truly are free," the full moon is especially Jewish because our most festive holidays are designated for when the moon is full. Pesach and Sukkot, two of our 3 ancient pilgrimage festivals, are specifically celebrated under the full moon, as are Purim and even the holidays of Tu B'Shvat and Tu B'Av, also known as Jewish Valentine's Day, all occur on the 14th or the 15th day of the 30-day Jewish month, right under the fullest, brightest moon to really celebrate and party. In fact, every single Jewish holiday starts when the moon is partially visible. Every holiday except Rosh Hashanah. Tonight is different from all those other nights. On those nights, we celebrate earth-bound joys. Under the moon, we celebrate Passover, our liberation from bondage. Sukkot, the time of rejoicing for the harvest. Shavuot, the festival of weeks where we gathered in our grain. Tu B'Shvat, the new year for the trees. All manner of holidays and moments we hope to experience again until we hopefully reach this time again next year. However, tonight's feast is different because it goes beyond those things we experience in our world. Tonight, we celebrate creation itself. Tonight, we slow down. We break our usual cycles. And under a dark sky, we consider what hope and what light will be created in the year ahead, right as it's conceived in darkness. A conception that tonight begins in a chrysalis, and tomorrow we will hear the year's formation, a kind of a big bang played out through the shofar with its blast and its pangs. It's not an easy thing to listen to the shofar, do that so many times. And it's not easy for a year to be born. At the end of Yom Kippur, the year will be fully born with that final Tekiah Gedolah at the end of Ne'ilah. And while tonight we are like the moon, we are new, we do not have to continue to be like the moon, predictable in its cycles. We create and we continue to create ourselves as we slowly learn and evolve. This year, we're staring at a blank canvas again. We can just put our brushes to the canvas without any prior thought, and something will come out. Or we can really use this moment and think about where we want to go. We've created before, each and every one of us in this room. Some of it's been good, and I think that most of us can admit that some of it's been not so good. Some things we look back, some things we'd like to change. Don't miss this opportunity. Take your time back. On this day of rest, really hear the pangs of the shofar. You have to do the work to make the space for hope, for dreams, and to consider the small steps you might take that will lead to giant leaps in the year ahead. One final moon moment. When Earth was knocked off its natural course, something incredible happened that reverberates from 4.5 billion years ago all the way to today. The Earth slowed down. This slowing down of the Earth may have been one of the necessary components for life to form on our planet. It's what makes us unique. You have moons that circle in your orbit. The things that slow you down. The things that are outside of yourself but are made up of your essence. Sometimes they may just seem to slow you down, but they are also what enable your life to flourish and to grow. May they bless you and enable you to create a new and better world. May they fill your year with goodness. Shana Tova.
Joe, your words were really over the moon. And we appreciate them. Before the concluding segment of our service, it's a long-standing custom that I offer a prayer for the new year. And it relates to what is happening in our world. Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of all generations, help us to thoughtfully reflect on the year just past and to courageously embrace this year just born. We are thankful that after 3 years of so much death and disruption, the pandemic has eased, though it has not disappeared. We should not and do not forget the heroic healthcare workers the valiant frontline workers, the scientists who developed the vaccines, the corporations that produced them, the businesses that distributed them, the aides who administered them. And the new vaccine is now ready. Open the gates of our gratitude for all the essential people in our lives. Turning to distant places at this new year, the tragedy unfolding in Ukraine has not abated. Open the gates of solidarity as we stand with brave Volodymyr Zelensky and his people. In our beloved Israel, democracy has been put to the test. Open the gates of solidarity as we stand with her defenders. Here at home, our democracy continues to be put to the test as well. Open the gates of civic activism, for in a free society, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel reminded us, some are guilty, all are responsible. Here at home, our empathy for the marginalized, the minority, the migrant, the poor, the homeless, the mentally ill, the addicted, continues to be challenged. Open for us the gates of freedom, equality, and compassion for those whose basic human rights are being denigrated or denied by virtue of their race, gender, social class, or social stigma. In a nation so richly blessed, make us more just and more compassionate. Our God, at this new year of hope and possibility, may we find common purpose to do your will and to walk forward to peace and purpose. Amen.
Amen.
For the Aleinu, page 43, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת כגלן יוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, ויור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים נמעל, ושכינתו זו מגובה מרומים, ואלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כה כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחתינו, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו Shemo
On page 45, at this sacred moment, we turn our thoughts to those who have gone from life. We recall the joy of their companionship. We feel a pang, the echo of that intenser grief when first their death lay before our stricken eyes. Now we know that they will never vanish, so long as heart and thought remain with us. By love are they remembered, and in memory they live. O God, grant that their memory may bring strength and blessing. May the nobility in their lives and the high ideals they cherished endure in our thoughts and live on in our deeds. May we, carrying on their work, help to redeem your promise that life shall yet prevail. On this Shabbat, we call to mind the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the passing of William Popransky, father of Kathy Hinsey, Betty Chartoff, mother of Gary Chartoff, Emily Jaffe, mother of Sheila Spector. For all those close to our hearts, for all those for whom there may be no one to say Kaddish, we join in the Kaddish prayer. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, ve'alma tivrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon yomechon, v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba, rach le'olam olamei Amen. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalek v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata amiran v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamayim Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav u'ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen. Please be seated. My honor to call forward Michael Fishbein, the president of our congregation, for a few greetings and announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, and Shana Tova to everyone here in our sanctuary and everyone watching on the live stream. I thank you, Rabbi. Amazing kindness you showed by affording student Cantor Joe the opportunity to deliver tonight's Devar Torah. Much appreciated. And thank you, student Cantor Flaxman, for your beautiful melodies this evening and your inspirational Devar Torah. And thank you, Beth Robin, for your beautiful accompaniment at this service and at so many of our high holidays in past years. I think we've been together for 30 years or more. It's always special when you join our services. And thank you, ushers Michael Raskin and Richard Olicchio. And thank you to all those on the high holiday preparation team. I'm not quite sure who participated this year. I know the rabbi changed the Torah, the beautiful Torah covers. And I think Barbara Schwartz was involved, and I don't know who else. Tal Collin was involved. It's a unique opportunity. Student Cantor Joe is offering a weekly adult B'nai Mitzvah class that includes learning basic Hebrew, Torah study, and Judaic studies. And if you take this course, someday you'll be able to say you studied with Joseph Flaxman, Cantor's Joseph Flaxman. The class began last Sunday and meets weekly on Sundays from 12:30 to 2 p.m. If you're interested in this exceptional opportunity, talk to Student Cantor Joe at the conclusion of the service or to Rabbi Schwartz and join his class. Rosh Hashanah services resume tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., followed by our delightful children's service at 2 p.m., and we'll observe Tashlich tomorrow at 3:30 at Overpeck Park. We'll be having a special religious school program for both our students and their parents this Sunday beginning at 9 a.m. We'll also be having a Tat Rosh Hashanah program at 9:30. In addition, our confirmation class meets with the rabbi this Sunday. I'm happy to announce that our youth group is forming this month with Adam Kahane as youth group advisor, and that's something we're very excited about. I'm also excited that all the engraved patio pavers that have been ordered in the past have now been installed in the patio. I urge you to come a little early tomorrow and take a look, find your engraved paver, and look how beautiful this patio is turning out to be. We'll be taking orders for new pavers. It's a continuing cycle. And the order form is in the back. You can see Richard Olicchio, and he can hand you the form. And those will be probably installed in the early spring. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Thank you, Michael, and on top of everything else that Michael does, thank you for live streaming the service this evening. A closing prayer for the new year. Rather, Don Olam, the closing song for the new year on page 47.
Adon Olam asher alav b'terem kol yitzir nivra v'et nasa b'chefsar kol azai melech shemo nikra v'acharei tiklot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu oreh v'hu yeh b'tifara v'hu echad ve'en sheni le'am shilo le'hakbira ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'am Yisra
Please rise for our closing benediction. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God show you kindness and grant you peace. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.